无国界国际的朋友，Janet 想要访问我，所以我们让 Janet 开始。
Hello, thank you, President Zhang, right?
Yeah.
Yes, excellent. I was just talking to you about, the differences in the way that Westerners perceive Taiwanese people here and the way that Taiwanese people perceive Westerners. So I mean, I'll tell you a little bit about my side, but I'm curious how you see Western people when you see us on the street, when you see us in our jobs. What do you think about us?
Okay, because I can't speak for everyone because I'm a little different because I was in the States for seven years. Wife is American and all my background, so I'm sort of hybrid. So when I see foreigners in Taiwan, I see them as travelers or people working in Taiwan, just as normal people. I don't have a strange reaction. I see them as, just a person. But I know a lot of young people that sort of see foreigners as just the first reaction would be like scared. Mm-hmm. Like they don't know what to do, and if their English is not fluent, then they don't know what to say, And then there is this very small bunch of people that are very aggressive. They would strike up a conversation with you. They want to know more about your country. They want to practice their English. And then there's also the traditional views of Westerners, like the white, blonde, or, whoever with blue, green eyes that, those are sort of, they come from the really open worlds that they are very open with, sex. They don't focus much on family values. They're very free. They're very educated. They express themselves well, and all the sort of conservative values of sort of saving money, working for the family, getting married, have kids. All these were not very emphasized by Westerners. And also they sort of group all the white people as Americans. And as a Canadian, you probably feel sometimes offended.
I guess the first thing is that a lot of the times the people who are really aggressive, we kind of seem like, to us, it kind of seems like we're celebrities to them. Like when they see us, they're just like, oh, you look like this person or that person. And it's usually someone that we would never think we ourselves look like. Do you know what I mean? Somebody told me once that I looked like, I'm trying to think of a famous actress, Lindsay Lohan, Dakota Fanning. A little like just different, anybody, they'll just blurt out.
Lohan
a little bit maybe.
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, then there's the other group of people that are really nervous, and I've met a lot of Taiwanese people who kind of say, "Oh, I've seen Western people walking around, but I've never actually talked to one. You're the first one." And I wish that more Taiwanese people would come up to me and talk to me, and I know how scared they are, but I really wish that they would just stop, even if their English isn't great, and say hello. I think a lot of Taiwanese people appreciate when I try and speak in my little bit of Chinese to say something to them.
I do have to say something because 20 years ago, when the economy was going really well, and English, most people have better command of English, and it was more sort of the society was richer, and there were actually more foreigners than today. Okay. So that's also something, maybe, part of it. So, and also, I think young people, because of some of our educational mistakes for the past 10 years, became sort of more reserved and shy. I'm not sure if you don't know what I'm talking about.
I
like the 40,
totally
around the people around 40-ish, sort of are more open to talk and express themselves. The people around 20 are maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's true. A lot of Taiwanese people are shy. I think a lot of foreigners, I'm only speaking for myself, but I think a lot of us can't figure out, are they shy because their English is poor, which we don't really mind, you know. We're obviously traveling in another country. We want to speak to people from that country.
Right.
You know, if you went to, I don't know, Thailand, maybe you want to speak to some people from Thailand, try the local food. That's why you go
You've
there.
been to Thailand?
I have, yes.
Thai people are more open.
Yeah, they are a little bit more, yeah. And I mean, Taiwanese people seem so closed off, but another part of it too is what you were saying before. I feel like people approach me like, you know.
Do you think to use rigid is an okay word to describe?
Yeah, I mean, reserved, rigid, they're a little bit, they kind of go back, and they're a little bit scared. And I mean, if I was to go out somewhere, it's like to a nightclub or something like that, which I don't do often. By the way, there aren't many nightclubs. Yeah, but I mean, if I was to go out to one, people immediately perceive what you're saying. I have blonde hair, I have blue eyes. Obviously, I must, you know, have sex with everybody in the bar or something like that. And it's just not the truth. There are Western people that are reserved. Totally, you know, I was telling you that I'm from a background that's very traditional, and so I mean, it's not that all Western people are like that, but we kind of feel the opposite about Taiwanese people. All Taiwanese people are so traditional, they never open up. So we want to have a conversation about all these important topics with them. How do you feel about this or that?
But motels are the most concentrated in the world.
I can imagine there's love motels everywhere.
So we're really, you know, hypocrites.
Yes.
A lot of,
But it's kind of hidden. It's kind of hidden in your society.
Hidden.
It's very, like, not talked about on the surface, right?
Yeah.
I know. And, yeah, I just find it so interesting that people think that I'm so forward with myself when I'm actually not at all, and I do want a family, and I, you know, do want to be a mother and all that sort of stuff, but they can't see that.
Being expressive and also open doesn't mean, you know, you have really low moral standards.
That's correct, right?
Yeah.
But I think that the difference is that, you know, people who are raised in Taiwan and me foreigners were maybe led to believe that from television or movies. I mean, we're just saying I look like, you know, a little bit like Lindsay Lohan.
Right,
She's doing cocaine and, like, you know, dating Bruce Willis, who's like 40 years old, and, you know, doing all these things that most Western women would never. Yeah, he's like 55 or something, I think, and she's like 25. Okay. And I mean, that's something that most Western girls would never do. In fact, we look down upon her ourselves, like, whoa, she's
but at the same
out of control.
Time, entertainment is really, like, the Hollywood is really misrepresenting the Western culture.
It really does. It really does.
It really hurts the Western culture.
But
at the same time, it makes a lot of money for it.
It's true, it does. I mean, it really misrepresents us. It really makes people think that I'm something I'm not. And I really would love to know more Taiwanese people, but it can be really difficult in this society. And, you know, seeing you on the street, I don't want to approach you because I'm scared that you're going to be scared of me. Right. Or what are you going to think? Or, you know, maybe the other day I stepped up to a crosswalk and I looked at the guy next to me and I smiled and he stepped away to the other side. I mean, he like literally took a step in the other direction and I hadn't even spoken to him.
You know, it's interesting because being back here for 5 years, starting my company on April 17th, 2006. And gradually, I was sort of waking up from this reverse cultural shock that in order to understand more Taiwanese people, I actually had to go back to the history, you know, of how, you know, how everything was like 40, 50 years ago, and even maybe 100 years ago. The history of generations of Taiwanese people residing on this island and fighting for their basic survival needs. And so I think sometimes history does teach us a lot about who we are. I mean, I'm hoping that is also my contribution of today's talks.
I hope so too, and I hope that you can understand a little bit, everybody that's watching can understand a little bit more about Western people and where we come from as well.
Yeah, and we'll continue this series of talks with my friend Janet.
Yes.
Okay, bye-bye.